Okay, good evening. There was a major developing story that happened in the Glen Oaks section of Queens around 7 o'clock this morning, where apparently most of Glen Oaks Village lost power. Around 1,000 people, including a friend of mine, well, two friends of mine to be specific, they lost power this morning. And there is no media attention about this. I can't even find anything about it on the Queen's Courier. In fact, you want proof? Let's go to the Queen's Courier website. Nothing about the blackout that happened in Glen Oaks. In fact, if you look up Glen Oaks, New York on Google for an example, taking a look, yeah, all they have is this. All they have is this. All they have is the Glen Oaks Key Food that shut down. And we also lost the Fresh Meadows Natural. So again, it just shows that we're just completely forgotten in Queens as usual, which is just ridiculous. So let's get into the details from Laura Uhl, and we're going to read into it. So let's read into the details. So first I'm going to show you the map. So this was the affected area where the outages were reported. Now, I will tell you that Long Island Jewish, I called my boss this morning. She told me that there were no issues with the power. So that's the good news, because with Long Island Jewish, they both rely on Con Ed and PSE&G. So what I was told was once the Con Ed grid went out, they went right to their backup supply from PSE&G Long Island. So thankfully, there was no issues in New Hyde Park on PSE&G's side. But on Con Ed's side, that was a different story. So we're going to read what happened, because I can't believe no media covered this today. I mean, I understand that, okay, Ukraine's a serious story, and, okay, the crime is out of hand, but for crying out loud, this was a major news story today. 1,000 people had no power in Glen Oaks this morning. So let's read this. Okay, so here we go. According to Edison, 2,000 residents. Wow, so originally it was 1,000 residents. Okay. As of 3 p.m., Con Ed said that the power would be restored between 1 to 4:30 p.m. or longer. The Coop area is several affected. Senior citizens were advised to call 911. And a lot of elderly people do live in Glen Oaks right by the hospital. So if there was an emergency, as I said, from what I've heard, Long Island Jewish went to their backup power supply from PSE&G. So thank goodness with Long Island Jewish, you have, and this is what I was told, if for whatever reason an emergency like this were to happen, from what I was told, the lights only went out for a few seconds. Once the backup generator from PSE and GLI kicked in from that power supply, the hospital never lost power. So I want to give my appreciation and thanks to PSE and G Long Island today for at least keeping the power on at Long Island Jewish, because the last thing you needed was more chaos. Other than, let's say along 76th Avenue, and I was assuming that maybe a couple of the houses lost power from this Con Edison map from earlier this morning. And when I woke up to get ready to go out to work this morning, I was literally saying, please tell me this is, because I woke up and my alarm clock went off. I had an issue 8 o'clock this morning. And, it just shows that, again, we are ignored. We are just ignored in Queens time and time and time again. And we don't even know what caused the outage. That's the suspicious thing. Like, I don't want to make any speculation on what happened, but again, I know I've said PSE&G Long Island deserves a lot of appreciation today, and I also want to thank Daniel Elkhorn today. I've called him out in the past, the president of PSE&G Long Island, but he deserves a lot of appreciation for, again, making sure one of the busiest hospitals in the region didn't lose any power. And this is why I'm really glad that you have that Nassau-Suffolk shift. Because if that wasn't the case, then, if the hospital solely relied on Con Edison, it would have been a whole different story today. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be in that area tomorrow, so I'm going to take a look myself to see if anything looks the unusual, because it looks like the traffic light was out on Little Neck and Union today. And also keep in mind, this happened right by the old Gersh Academy building. So imagine if, let's say Gersh Academy was still in Queens, for an example, and for whatever reason, the building would have probably had to been closed today. Likely that's what would have happened. If there's no power, how are you going to let alone get the heat on, number one, for a 3-floor building that used to house Gersh Academy, and number two, well, actually, if you count the basement, that makes 4. So, that would have probably happened today. But again, this is Queens. We are ignored once again because the media says, oh, we're too busy focused on the Ukraine situation or, whatever at this point. So that happened, and there is some good news that I do need to get into, and some bad news, because we're going to strictly focus on Queens again. A lot's going on. Bottom line, a lot is just going on. So here we go. So over the weekend, we had some good news that a man with a prior rap sheet has been arrested in connection with the attack with a hammer in Long Island City. William Blunt, age 57, according to the Queens District Attorney, is facing charges of attempted murder, robbery, and assault for the incident that happened back on February 24th, critically wounding New York City health worker Nina Rothschild at the Queens Plaza EM&R subway station. So, obviously, Miss Rothschild was attacked at 11:20 p.m. in the evening. So, the good news is William Blunt was arrested yesterday. So that is very, very good news. The suspect's last known address was in Astoria. He had a dozen prior arrests, including charges of robbery and criminal possession of a controlled substance. So, look at this. This guy has been out of the prison system for 40 plus years. I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. So, I don't need to get into more of the specifics, but this is what I mean. Channel 1 doesn't recap specifics. It just shows that this TV station doesn't care. Time and time again. You know what they were doing tonight? They were actually busy covering the New York State Republican Convention tonight. That's how disturbing things have gotten over at Channel 1. We have a crime problem. Glen Oaks lost power today, and Channel 1 was too busy covering Lee Zeldin winning the Republican nomination. And again, I'm a Republican, I will admit it, but you have to cover the news that matters to everyone. Alright? Not just Republicans. Look at this. Another incident was reported. 2 attackers boarded the northbound R train at 67th Avenue around 9 p.m. the same evening and hit a 35-year-old passenger in the head. So it says here, the victim was hit with an unknown object causing a laceration and bleeding. So, police are still investigating after the suspects fled. Victim was taken to Elmhurst Hospital. So, now Channel 1 did cover this, which is surprising because this actually made headlines back in November when the weather was warm. Yeah, anybody remember when we had that warm weather back in November? And this woman was just minding her own business, sweeping the sidewalk in Elmhurst. Well, I have some sad news. the woman has succumbed to her injuries. So, to think, we were just talking about this back in November. And here we are in February going into March, talking about this awful woman who, again, was enjoying, a nice warm November day, minding her own business, cleaning up the sidewalk, and was just attacked for no reason. So the victim's name was Gai-Ying Ma. And sad to report that she had passed away on on February 22nd at New York City Health Elmhurst Hospital. So originally, this incident happened back on November 26, 2021. Alright? So again, it was a decent day. I mean, it was the day after Thanksgiving, and it was a decently warm day outside. It was near 60 degrees, and again, she was just minding her own business, and then, this is the thug that attacked her. This is the thug right here. So this guy should easily be charged with murder. Alright, because now what District Attorney Melinda Katz can do in this situation, now that they have proof that the woman succumbed to her injuries 3 months later, and given the fact that there is a statute of limitation, expect to hear from Melinda Katz sometime before the end of this week regarding this guy right here. Because now you have a murder charge coming sooner rather than later. There's a good chance in April or May this guy is going to be in Queens Criminal Court in Kew Gardens. There is a good possibility you are looking at that situation. Wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me. And again, this is what the New York Post says. It says that Isol Perez was charged with felony assault. But now, again, it's up to Melinda Katz. It's most likely she is going to upgrade the charges. Because if you are the prosecutor, who is Melinda Katz, the district attorney of Queens County, you are looking at a situation where you're looking at a long jail sentence. A very long jail sentence. So, there is a statement from her office that says, "We are reviewing the latest development in this tragedy and will add or upgrade any appropriate charges supported by the evidence. In the meanwhile, on behalf of Melinda Katz, we extend our condolences to the family." So, the family is currently raising funds to hold a funeral sometime in March. A GoFundMe has raised around $183,830,000. So, again, just another example of, why we keep saying that we have to be tough on crime right now. But, Eric Adams can say all he wants. Kathy Hochul, we don't really know her stance on bail reform, and it just makes things a lot more confusing right now. It really does. So we're going to get into a couple more articles from the Queens Courier, because I feel that I have a little bit more patience to talk about Queens. Everybody knows this about me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to organize a couple of these articles. A couple incidents that are happening in Ridgewood. And get into this. I'm going to organize a couple of these. So, yes, this is the one I wanted to read. So we'll get to the assaults first. First assault incident, Middle Village. 2 suspects attack elderly man and steal $1,000. So here we go. February 22nd, 4 p.m. 2 men approached a 79-year-old man near 81st Street and Elliott Avenue, forcibly knocking him to the ground and took his wallet with $1,000 inside. The suspect then allegedly fled west on Elliott. The victim sustained minor lacerations in the incident and was treated at the scene. So, obviously, you have surveillance video of the suspect going into a liquor store. Very disturbing. Very, very disturbing. So, this is what I wanted to read next. Another assault. This is the last one we got. Actually, no, hang on. We have another one. Yeah, okay, this is the other one I wanted to read. So let's read this one first. Ridgewood Dunkin' Donuts. Teenager assaulted. 325 Wyckoff Avenue, so right on the border of Bushwick. No surprise there. Police say a 17-year-old boy was just minding his own business, sitting at a table outside drinking coffee just after 2 p.m. So they don't even mention what day did this happen. That's kind of suspicious. Yep, so there you go. Another assault. So apparently this is also robbery. iPhone 11 was stolen. Apple AirPods were taken away from the suspect. So, suspect was last seen heading on Myrtle Avenue and was captured going into the subway station. So again, literally right on the border of Bushwick, Brooklyn. So, one man had a beard and black hair and was wearing a black fur hooded winter coat with gray hooded sweatshirt and a face mask. So, I don't even want to read the suspect description because it's you know what's going to happen. It's the same old, same old. Nothing's going to get done until the bail reform is repealed. Bottom line. Bottom line. Alright, I do not have the energy to read any of these suspect descriptions until the bail reform law is repealed. I'm taking a stand. I am taking a stand right now because this is the same old, same old. I have to talk about what's going on, but at the same time, I cannot make these lengthy anymore. I just can't. I just can't. You got this guy in Ridgewood, too. Grand Theft Auto reported. Read this. 6:30 a.m., Tuesday, January 11th, the 25-year-old man went to the car he had parked in front of 976 Seneca Avenue and discovered over $1,000 and a credit card were missing before the cops were involved. So, it says here, a man broke into the window of the vehicle and took the man's property. So, hang on, I just want to see, was the card stolen? Oh, okay, man breaks into a car. Okay. So, I thought the car was stolen because maybe the car would have been hotwired or something, but I guess not. So, disturbing. Very disturbing. So I can read this. Suspect described 30 to 40, beard, wearing a dark hooded jacket and a gray nightcap. Blue plaid shirt and dark pants, so. Oh, hang on here. I know this is unrelated, but it seems that Catholic schools said masks won't be required when statewide mandate ends on Wednesday. Wow. So that means when my mom goes to work on Wednesday, it's up to the school, but she works at a private Catholic. Oh boy. I mean, thankfully where I work, masks are required at the moment. So, no war of words. Okay, so another subway attack, February 24th. Oh, we read that. We read that already from the Post. So I want to read this. Yeah, I think I remember this. Oh, yeah, right. Pedestrian was ran over twice in Glendale. Cypress and Cooper Avenue. He fell to the ground on February 12th. Oh, man. You got a pedestrian phase, meaning all cars and stop and pedestrians walk at the same time. So, at least that's some good news. DOT wants to get involved. So, I really hope Dennis Rodriguez is going to do something about the out of sync traffic lights on Francis Lewis and Bell Boulevard Northern, because I'm going to be honest, folks, the one at Bell Boulevard takes way too long to change. Way too long. It's like you have to wait almost 2 minutes for the light to change green. And that delays the Q13 and it delays the Q31, which is ridiculous. So that needs to be addressed. No question, because that's why sometimes the Q31 gets delayed in Bayside. So lastly, we're going to get to Laura Uhl. Why are we going to Laura Uhl? So, Jonathan from Passengers United was actually mentioned by Laura Uhl. Let's read this. Hillside Avenue, 179th Street. In fact, Jonathan himself was actually at the supermarket nearby when this happened, which is crazy. The ideal over there. And actually, they keep it clean from what I've heard. But anyhow, here we go. Male black suspect robbing 2 people and resistance occurred. The suspect took out a knife. So, very disturbing. You know, this is where I get my Metro card reloaded. Named 4:30 in the morning. Stabbing at Roosevelt and 111th Street in Corona. So, obviously, a lot of my co-workers from Osnum live in the Corona Elmhurst area. So they are not happy about this either. So there we go. The crisis in the subway is getting worse, and we are angry that false promises were made to riders by elected officials, said President and COO of Passengers United, Charlton D'Souza. How can passengers have confidence in the safety plan released by the governor and mayor if shootings and stabbings have still occurred in the subway system? We are outraged that a homeless man threw feces in a woman's face. The mental health crisis is just being ignored, and subway riders are beyond frustrated at this point. We continue to call and support 300 National Guard troops in the subway now. So, what Charlton is referring to is an incident that happened in the Bronx that's actually getting a lot of media attention. And in fact, Channel 7 actually covered it tonight. In fact, you want proof? I think they even have it on the YouTube channel. Because I'm going to find it right now. If I can. Here it is. This is it. This is it. Channel 7 covered it.
In the Bronx tonight, a search for a suspect in an attack that can only be described as disgusting. That attack happened at a subway station. The man threw feces on a woman who was waiting for a train and then took off. That horrified victim today talked to Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Ken.
It is an attack on the subway, so vile, so disgusting. There are few words to describe the indecency. In this video released by the NYPD, you can see a man take something out of a bag. That's something. Human feces, which he then throws and rubs on a woman's face. No apparent motive. That woman says she was attacked out of nowhere. Speaking in Spanish, the victim, who did not want to be identified, says her assailant spread it all over her face and into her hair. She says she was sitting on a bench on her phone when she was struck. It happened so quickly. She didn't realize what had happened until after he fled. Police say it happened last Monday, February 21st, around 5:15 p.m. on the southbound platform of the East 241st Street subway station in the Bronx. The victim says 2 days after she was attacked here, she was harassed and followed by another man on the train in Brooklyn. In that incident, she said other riders were on board to help keep her safe. The mayor today saying incidents like this reinforce the need for a focus on how to address mental illness. And a week after his subway safety plan went into effect, he's ready to make some tweaks.
I'm sitting down tomorrow to do an evaluation. I went out yesterday in some of the subway stations and talked to the officers on the ground to ask them their pros and cons. What could we be doing different?
Mayor, you do not know what is going on, okay? You're just there for publicity. That's it. That's it, okay? the bottom line is maybe something would have changed a little bit different if Curtis Lewa was the mayor right now. Maybe. I don't know. But my question to this mayor, can you promise me you're going to have more cops at Times Square or Bryant Park when Piano at the Park resumes at Bryant in May, or when we have more people expected to go to the outdoor activities, and especially how when that large stage comes back for other shows, which did come back last year, they did. How are you going to keep people safe on the subway, Mayor? How? You got 2 months. All right? The clock is ticking. Bryant Park is going to release their schedule, Mayor. All right? Don't act like you're not paying attention. Eric Adams. Eric Adams. And I really hope Lee Zeldin, Andrew Giuliani, Rob Astorino, you all are watching this right now. Alright? Take this seriously. Take this really seriously. People are paying attention. It is happening in the city, okay? I'm talking about the city. I'm not talking about, anywhere outside of the 5 boroughs. Because, at least per capita, since Bruce Blakeman got elected, arrests have actually gone up since he took office. Which is a good thing, right? The arrests should be going back up in New York. But Laura Hull says it best. Oh, it's safe because people aren't getting arrested. Alright, this is the problem. We have to have common sense back. It's hurting Queens, and it's hurting the rest of the city as well. And I'm not going to just sit here and not, let my borough go down without a fight. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to try to. I don't know how. But there is a good chance. I know I said I wasn't going to move to Delaware. But telling you right now. Telling you all right now. I'm telling you all this. And I'm really thinking about it. This is where I may end up. This is where I may end up at this rate. It's looking like it. It's starting to look like it. So I can't go down without a fight. I have to try to prevent this reality from happening. But it's looking like it's getting close. I don't know how. But I may have to make the first state my home to stay safe. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. I'm going to continue the good fight. But look at this picture. This may be coming for me sooner rather than I think.